In March 2018, Daphne Buxman Carley and her husband Kevin Carley visited the gym at their YMCA. The latter arrived at the facility after his wife, and he headed to the treadmill for a workout. However, unknown to Kevin, one aspect of his routine would cause him to suffer a major health scare. Before we begin, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, and click the notification bell for more amazing videos. At the time, Kevin and Daphne were very much focused on health and fitness. The pair engaged in numerous workouts at the YMCA throughout the normal week, mixing their routines up along the way. But that's not all though, as we're about to discover. Daphne and Kevin were also keeping an eye on their respective diets as well, as they prepared for a sunny family holiday in Florida. So with that in mind, they continued their routine at the YMCA's gym going into March 2018. So Daphne and Kevin went about their business as per normal at the facility, with the former getting there first. And once her partner had arrived, he got into his workout ahead of the aforementioned incident, which Daphne would describe in a lengthy online post a few months later. Daphne and Kevin are residents of Greenville, Wisconsin, and are the proud parents of two daughters named Ramona and Ivy. The married couple were also regulars at their local gym, and they visited the facility up to 6 times each week. And during their time there, they engaged in several different workouts together. A few months later, Daphne wrote up a lengthy post for the lifestyle website Love What Matters, describing the events that followed. To kick things off, the mom of two recalled, "I went into the YMCA earlier in the morning than Kevin. He was going to drop off our youngest daughter, Ivy, at our local high school for a cooking class." Daphne continued, "Our oldest daughter, Ramona, would stay home, sleep in, and have some time to herself until we'd come home from working out roughly 2 hours later. Kevin came into the workout class I was in and was messing around with me and my girlfriends after he arrived at the YMCA. He gave me a smooch." For her part, Daphne looked back on the brief conversation she had with Kevin when he dropped in. As it turned out, her husband had toyed with the idea of even going to the gym that day. Yet, despite those doubts, Kevin pressed ahead to join his partner at the facility. Kevin then greeted Daphne and told her that he was heading for the treadmill, while his wife confirmed she'd be there later. The pair then went about their business as per normal, but soon that changed. Unfortunately for the mother, her world was about to be turned upside down. About half an hour later, one of my friends in the class stepped out to use the bathroom and saw a bunch of commotion going on, Daphne wrote. She went to see what was happening. As soon as she stepped into the workout area where the treadmills are, another friend saw her and said it was Kevin. Daphne was subsequently pulled away from their class and told about the situation, prompting her to act. She explained, "I ran into the workout area and saw about 50 people around my husband on a gurney with an oxygen mask on. He was flailing uncontrollably all over the place. I was in absolute shock." In Daphne's mind, Kevin was in very good shape at the time, given their frequent visits to the YMCA gym. That wasn't the only surprise, as she believed that he looked fine just a few minutes before. But in addition to the shock, she felt a sense of relief when she saw her husband as well. Daphne said, "Thank God by the time I got in there, they'd already given Kevin CPR and shocked him with the AED, so I didn't have to see him unconscious and turning blue." Kevin was soon loaded into an emergency vehicle for his trip to the local medical facility with Daphne by his side. She continued, "The entire way he was completely combative and mentally was not himself. The nurse in the ER told me to wait in the family room and the doctor would be in shortly." Daphne eventually received an update on Kevin at the hospital. She wrote in Love What Matters, "Finally, the doctor came in after what seemed like an hour and explained that they have no idea what happened. But Kevin had gone into cardiac arrest, and because he was without oxygen so long, his brain would not connect with his body. Kevin was then given a sedative by the doctors to calm him down while they searched for more answers." The hospital staff went on to conduct several other tests from there, ahead of a big decision. Given his condition, they wanted to try something that could, in essence, wake him up. Daphne revealed, "The doctors decided the best option at this point was to put Kevin into a medically induced coma for at least 2 days. 24 hours in hypothermia and 24 hours to warm up and see if it would regain his full mental capacity after the loss of oxygen." However, this story then took a rather unsettling turn. The medical staff transported Kevin to the hospital's ICU ward, by which time he was already in his coma. Yet at that stage, Daphne was approached by a respiratory specialist, otherwise known as a pulmonologist. She recalled, "He began asking questions about what was in Kevin's stomach, and I said, 'Why?' Daphne continued, The pulmonologist said, "When we intubated Kevin, a bright lime green slime came shooting out of his mouth. My mind went blank. I had no idea what he could have possibly eaten or taken, as I wasn't with him in the morning. Then I remembered he would sometimes take a pre-workout drink before the gym." Daphne therefore appeared to have cracked the mystery, but it only created more questions in her mind. How could a simple shake cause this major issue? In the end, those queries were momentarily halted by the doctor once they looked at the drink in question. In their opinion, it wasn't responsible for Kevin's condition. Yet despite all the negativity, Daphne finally received some better news after a couple days. Kevin started to wake from his coma and thankfully showed no signs of brain damage. He then underwent a procedure later in the week, with doctors placing an automated defibrillator into his chest. After the operation, Kevin's doctors were certain that they had an answer for his cardiac arrest. Daphne wrote in Love What Matters, "The consensus from the cardiologist and the electrical physiologist was that his heart was overworked and it couldn't handle the amount of excess caffeine and other stimulants that were in the pre-workout drink he took." Daphne continued, "The doctors said it was the perfect storm. Kevin was dehydrated and had no electrolytes and no sodium in his body the day of his event. The pre-workout drink put his otherwise extremely healthy heart over the breaking point and into cardiac arrest." Due to what happened on that fateful day in March 2018, Kevin was instructed to avoid pre-workout drinks going forward by his physicians. In turn, Daphne couldn't help but reiterate how lucky her husband was following the incident, as he received some vital help at the gym, and on that note, her lengthy message came to a close. But the post itself didn't end there, as Kevin then offered his perspective on the lifestyle website. The dad of two wrote, "It was just another day. I was hitting the gym and tackling my day. However, that wasn't how it turned out. Since my event, I have an internal defibrillator. Most importantly, the doctor stressed to stay away from all energy drinks." Kevin then echoed Daphne's words about his luck, admitting that the right people were initially in place at the YMCA. Yet, according to the Greenville resident, this wasn't an isolated incident. He had heard some troubling tales from his friends during his recuperation that really opened his eyes. Kevin continued, "While I was in recovery, friends that came to visit mentioned other stories that they had recently heard about energy drinks. Soon, while I was at home recovering, I started searching the internet and found out I wasn't the only one. Several people, healthy people, weren't as lucky as I was." From there, Kevin had one more thing to say on the matter, bringing the post to a conclusion. He added, "I am truly blessed to be here writing this, and I want people to be aware of the dangers of these drinks. Of course, it's easy to think you're invincible until you clinically die and come back, all because of a drink."